Good evening, friends. I'm Dr. Aajay Shah, and we are bringing this another great live. As you all know, that we have expanded our pillars from 6 pillars of healthy lifestyle to many other pillars. Matter of fact, you can read on my screen all the pillars we focus on now. And today I have a special treat for all of you. Today, actually, I have a great guest who is going to cover many pillars which we actually focus on. And those pillars include stress management, relationship, career, happiness, leadership, women empowerment. So our today's guest is actually very versatile. I've seen her Facebook page. I talk to her personally. I follow her regularly. She's part of a book also. So that guest is Dr. Mrinalini Garv. Let's welcome Dr. Garv. Welcome, Dr. Garv.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's great. So let's start with what is your education background and what type of work you do now?
I am a physician by training, and I practiced for about 3 to 4 years as a primary care doctor. And I realized that that's not where my heart was. So I decided to explore and figure out what I truly want. And I went to, do hospital administration. Then I taught as a professor in a business school. And now I'm a career transformation coach. And I help female professionals in any industry, actually, even though I'm a physician, to smash through their income ceilings and feel valued and fulfilled in their career. And as they do that, I really help them achieve their fullest potential.
Wow, that's a great transition you made because I think, particularly in medical field, I personally believe that many physicians can and should wear hat of an administrator or a leader or a financial, consultant because many physicians are not good at those things, and we need physicians who can understand what other physicians go through. And I think we talked about it, but you also help non-physicians too. So I think that's very impressive. So let me ask you an important question. And today, even though I may actually turn off some of the people, but today we are going to focus on women empowerment. And that's what you specialize into it. So let's start with a simple question. If a woman wants to succeed in her career, what are some of the tips you will give it to her?
That's a great question. I love to keep things simple. I just help women simplify their life. So there are really three things that women need to be massively successful in their career. Number one is clarity on what they truly want. Number two, clarity on the value they bring to the table. And lastly, communicating that value so that when the audience hears them, they know that, oh, this is a win-win situation by hiring her or working with her or making her a part of my team. But these are really the three things that any woman should focus on. And to actually expand it on those three pillars a little bit more, I like to tell stories, and I think stories make a better impact on the brain. So, women, when they approach me, they are usually, burned out, or they feel they're underpaid, or they don't know what they want to do in life. And these are all, good reasons to think about how to, upgrade their career or go for a career change. But I had this client who was a neonatologist, and she was almost ready to like give up neonatology and become, medical director in an insurance company and whatnot. So we actually helped her figure out what she truly wants. And she also felt that she wasn't paid as much. And as we started working together, I helped her really figure out what she truly wanted. And what she truly wanted was feeling valued, being visible, paid for the value that she brings to the table. So once that was clear, we did some more work on helping her understand what her value was, right? What her worth is, and how to ask for what she truly wants, right? So once we helped her understand what her limiting beliefs were, what her blocks were, she was able to get it. Like there was a switch in her mind, and she's like, yeah, I know now what I want. I know this is how powerful I am. This is what I bring to the table. And the third thing was to go speak with the boss, right? And that's where the third pillar comes in, which is communication. And what she ended up doing was a lot more than what she was thinking of achieving, which was, she went to her boss. She asked her, told her, I'm going to do only 40 hours a week. I'm going to do only one weekend a month. She told her, I love quality improvement. I want a role. The boss is creating a role for her. She's going to pay her for that extra on top of what she already makes. And she got a raise. And it's not just that, but because she got so clear on how much potential she has while working with me, she launched two businesses, one abroad and one in the US. So, it's once you create this real estate in your brain and remove the thoughts that stop you from going after your dreams, you can do whatever you want to do in your life. So once you have those three things, clarity on what you truly want, clarity on your own value, and then how to talk about your value, you can go wherever you want in your life, whether it's career or whether it's business.
Wow, those 3 points actually applies to all of us, and I'm going to remember it for myself. Again, what you want, what you bring to the table, and how you can communicate, how you can achieve what you want. Actually, I mean, those three simple, very simple. But I think before we jump into any new adventure, if we ask those three questions routinely, I think we will have very higher chance of succeeding and then a very less chance of failure. So I think those three questions are must for all women who want to succeed in their career, who want to get a promotion, who want to start a new business. I mean, any new adventure, any women want to make, they have to ask those three questions. And probably, like you said, those three questions applies not just to our career, but to our life also, in terms of relationship, in terms of parenting. I think everywhere, those three principles applies everywhere in the life. So great tips, great tips. My next important question is that many women still are figuring it out, that how they define success in life. Obviously, there are a lot of different types of success: material success, relationship success, career success, many other successes. So please tell us what type of success a woman should be looking for, and what is a true successful woman?
Another great question. People define success differently. For everyone, success is a very subjective thing. But again, I believe in simplicity. In my experience, success is to reach that stage where you can be gently relaxed in your decisions and your accomplishments. And what I mean by that is, if you are looking for material success, right, and you buy that $1 million house, but if you're not able to relax, if you're not able to enjoy your house and all you're worried about, oh, how about that mortgage? Oh, what's the next thing? Oh, I don't know what my neighbors are doing. I want to do better than them. I want to keep up with with the Joneses, right? If you have that kind of attitude, um, no matter how much you have achieved in your life, you will never feel successful, because you will always feel that, oh, I have done this, now I have to go to another level. And I'm all about getting to the next level, because that's what I teach my clients. But it shouldn't be out of desperation. It should be, I want to explore more. What else can I do in my life, right? Do I just want a raise, or do I want to start a business? But it should come from a place of satisfaction for where you are. Otherwise, it's like, being in the rat race and really never pausing to stay in touch with what feels good to you.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. That success actually, like you said, is different for different people. But the common aspect of every success is that you feel relaxed. You feel like at your calm level. You don't wake up every morning chasing your tail again. And I think those are the things. Whether it's a material success, relationship success, any kind of success, when you feel comfortable in your own skin, that's when I think you have achieved the success. I agree with you. I think otherwise you will be chasing, the next bigger house, next promotion, next relationship, next our son, your daughter, getting a winning a tennis tournament and going up and up. Those are not the success. Those are chasing a tail. I think success is when you start to feel comfortable what you are doing, when you are feeling calm and cool what you are doing. I agree with you. I think success has to be an experience and a feeling, not what other people tells us. So I agree with you. I think my next question, which is a very important question for women particularly, and we are talking about women today, that if a woman wants to progress in the career, either whether it's an employed position or they are in their own business or they have their own company, what are some of the things that person, that woman has to put in? Obviously, that includes hard work, that includes smart work. What else? And how would you help a woman to achieve that advancement into their career?
To advance in the career, it doesn't start with, oh, I have been in this job for 5 years. Now I want to figure out what I want to do next. My advice is right from your first job. In fact, I will go even back. Most of us do it reverse. We get a certain education, and then we say that, oh, because I have this particular degree, now my path is carved. I would say you think about what you truly want and then find out what different paths can actually take you to that goal. Because if you have that clarity, then you actually have your life set, right? So the day you start your job, you need to know what your next level is going to be, right? Because you don't want to wait for 5 years to figure out, oh, I have got bored now. I feel like every day I'm doing the same thing. I'm not getting paid as much. But if you can actually have some goals for yourself, this is where I want to be, your work will become exciting. You know why? Because you're going to pick projects. You're going to have conversations, with your bosses, with the stakeholders. That is going to help you get to that next level. Otherwise, every day is a boring day. It's like, I'm going to come, I'll do whatever is being told to me, and that's it. I'm done. That's not how you go about your career. You really have to think about what's my next step, right? What are the projects I need to take? Because if you don't have that vision, you might actually end up taking on projects that are useless, like literally useless to you. But it's just busy work and you feel like, oh, I'm so busy, I have 10 projects that I'm working on, I'm so busy. And that leads to dissatisfaction, right? I am doing so much but my boss is not recognizing me. But if you can actually pick, oh, this is a juicy project, this is going to give me visibility, this is going to expose me to leadership, this is going to expose me to doing presentations in the boardroom. So as scary as it sounds, but if you can think about it and plan accordingly, it's going to take you there. So it's really not about hard work. Hard work is that thinking, right? Thinking really hard, how can I get to that next level? That doesn't mean that you say no to everything, right? I mean, it's work. There will be some things that you don't like. But if 90% of your work is focused on doing what you don't like, it's not going to take you anywhere, because you are not going to give your heart to the work. It's going to be that's another boring project that I'm working on. But if you can pick and choose those projects, you will bring everything, the creativity, the brain power that you can put into that project and make it amazingly successful. And that is what gets noticed, not putting your head down and doing your work every day and then hope that one day somebody will notice me and they will promote me or give me a raise. It doesn't happen that way. You have to be really proactive about how you can get to that next level.
Wow, those are excellent, excellent tips and points. And I agree with you. I think many of us actually, like you said, do it in reverse. I think we get into an education and we pretty much the next 30, 40 years keep going with a blindfolded eyes that we got this degree, so we have to keep doing this thing. And I think you are a shining example that that's not written in stone. And I think, and also your point about, sitting down on day one of your work, what are your ultimate goals in life? not after 5 years at work, but on day one of your work, and then reflecting periodically to make sure that you are progressing and you are actually having vision what a company or what people you work for, you are matching their vision, you are becoming visible in their boardroom, you are helping them with new projects, you are giving them ideas, you are actually thinking like them, and you are thinking, even though you may be an employee, but you are thinking like you are a leader in the company. And I think all those traits will give you a better chance of getting promoted and one day making you even a CEO of the company. And I think, I mean, we have to be, like you said, we have to be proactive. We have to, like plan our advancement. Nobody's going to come and just say that you are promoted unless they see the value in you. And like you said, from the 3 points, you have to bring a value to the table. And only people who bring value to the table are, assertive, who think for themselves, who plan, who have vision, who work hard, who work smart, who are lifelong learners, who read every day. All those things are very important if you want to get promoted. You cannot just get promoted by just sitting at your desk and pushing those papers and keyboards. I agree with you. So my next question to you is that it's very important for women, because I think many times, men so too, but women more so, I think they get very much taken advantage of. And I think I personally believe that women should have a method or a way of becoming assertive. I'm not talking about becoming aggressive. I'm talking about becoming assertive. And that assertiveness is required at work, in your career. Assertiveness is required in the relationship. Assertiveness is required as a parent, as a friend, as a family member, even as a community member. So please tell us how a woman can become assertive without coming out as an aggressive woman.
See, women, they have to balance so many things. And this is because of, the societal programming, since childhood, right? And the cultural expectations that are of them. It is really hard for a woman to just be and be celebrated. It is always, even when it comes to, I'm going a little off topic, but it's related. Even when it comes to beauty, right? It's impossible to exist as a beautiful woman because, oh, you're too fair. Oh, you're too dark. Oh, you have short hair. Oh, you have long hair. Oh, you speak too loud. Oh, you are so soft. You speak so softly. So it is really hard for a woman to exist, without being impacted by all these expectations that are being put on her. And I think the other thing also is that in a lot of families, and I'm from India, and it's not just in India, working with so many clients, speaking with so many women, I know it's a common theme on the globe that women are programmed to take care of others, right? They are trained to put other people's needs before their own. So it is very hard for women to say no and say that, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take care of myself. I mean, if someone says that, people actually get offended. But if a man says that, they're like, wow, he's so confident. He knows what he wants and he doesn't care about others. But if a woman does that, oh my goodness, they're going to call her all sorts of names. So it is a real challenge. Now, having said so, in spite of the programming, right, it is very possible to own your own voice and be assertive. And by assertive, it does not mean that you have to like go and boss around. Uh, and I'm also not saying that you have to be really soft and make requests, right? That is very superficial. That does not feel powerful. But what is important is that you have to really work on how that programming has impacted your mindset. If that has killed your confidence, you will not be able to show up as your confident self. You will not appear self-assured to others. So the most important thing is to first do some inner work. And unfortunately, I cannot tell you that here, here's the tip and go, you become assertive and confident. You really have to understand how that programming has impacted you. how you make decisions, how you speak about yourself, how you put your needs um, before other people's needs, and how do you actually make the ask for what you want. So once you have done that inner work and you realize that, oh, you know what, it was this programming that has been holding me back, right? If I go ahead and be confident and not really care about what other people think, I'm just going to be myself. And once you become authentic, once you become sure of yourself, this is what I want and I'm not going to take it any other way, you just express it, right? And when you are self assured, when you're authentic, when you're confident, the way you speak does not sound like you are bossing around or you are being arrogant. It just feels like matter of factly. You have, hey, this is my vision. These are some things I want to accomplish. Let's talk about how we can do this, right? It's very assertive. I did not say anything. Hey, I want you to do this right now, right? It's all about, here is where we want to go by this date. These are our constraints. Let's talk about how we can get there. And you just allow that conversation and make things happen for yourself. But if you're not assertive, if you're not able to make your asks, if you're not able to say no, you are not going to go much further ahead in your life.
Wow, those are excellent points, and I agree with you. I think many women, because of the childhood experience, because of the relationship experience, many times actually have lost confidence and trust in themselves. So I think they have to build that, and they can build it by either reading some motivational books or watching some YouTube videos or reaching out to a person like you or counseling or whatever required. But first thing is to be confident of yourself, and to be honest with you. I think a woman, in my opinion, in the way I respect women, my mom and my sister, my wife, our daughter, women actually will never, never, ever be aggressive. Women by nature will stop at being assertive. If anything, I've seen more men to be aggressive and arrogant than women. I think women in general, because of the way their hormonal issues are, the way their nurturing personalities are, the way they give birth to a child, the way they raise the kid as a mom, women in general will max be assertive. Even many women are not even assertive. But I will never ever in my life have felt that a woman was arrogant or aggressive. It's just not their nature. So I actually invite all women, all our viewers, followers, all the women in the world, just run and you will be assertive. You will never be arrogant, even though man may label you like that. But let me tell you, they are doing it for their own personal reasons, their own personal advantage. They are just doing it to put you down. A woman will never become arrogant or never become an aggressive woman. That's my personal opinion. So let me ask you the next important question for women particularly. Many women are in their work for sometimes years and years, and they have lost their joy being at work. And that joy part applies to relationship and in life in general. So how can a woman make sure that every morning she wakes up, she has a joy going to the work, having all day of joy and continuing that joy for rest of her life at work and in her personal life? How can a woman be more joyful?
Amazing, amazing question. There is life and there's career. Many times when we have issues in life, our career becomes our respite, right? We go there, we forget about stuff, and then, we do our work and then we come back to life, right? But when there are issues in career, you cannot leave them at work. You just cannot leave them at work. You tend to bring them home, right? So if you are working long hours, if you are working on something, that is way below your capability, right? You are bored, you're not excited about it, you are not being recognized at work, other people are taking credit, other people are exploiting you for your work ethics, lot of stress, right? You cannot escape that even after coming home, right? Maybe when you're with your kids, maybe with your husband, maybe you watch a little bit of TV, but when you go to bed, you cannot stop thinking about work. And it causes a lot of stress because you are playing work situations in loop in your head, and then you cannot sleep very well. Constant stress thoughts are, constantly going on in your head, and that leads to stress, that leads to anxiety. If you do not do anything about it, it's going to lead to eventually physical illnesses, and that comes in your realm, Dr. Shah, right? But work stress can actually cause illnesses and stress related illnesses, right? Chronic illnesses, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, emotional eating, and whatnot. And then work stress can also make you very reactive at home. Your child wants your attention, and because your brain is so much preoccupied with work thoughts, you might get angry at them. It's like, why are you bothering me? Just let me be. Or you might not you might use your spouse as your punching bag, right? And for no fault of theirs, right? So it's very important that you figure out a way to find joy at work. So how do you do that, right? How do you do that? Well, you find projects, things to do that give you joy, right? If you are given a project, know that you can say no. This is the thing. Most women do not know that they can say no. Most of the times they have this fear in their mind. Oh, if I say no, I'm going to ruffle feathers, and people will not take it very well. I might lose my job and this and that. But no, it doesn't happen that way. You got to go and tell your boss, I hate this. You can even use these words. If you really want me to be a star employee, let's talk about some of the things that interest me. And I'm going to do such a great job at this. But women do not have these conversations with their bosses. And that's what leads them to feel stuck and miserable. They feel that they don't have any power on their work situation. And I know this, especially for immigrants, right? I'm an immigrant. When I initially came here, there's a lot of desperation too, right? Oh, this is the only company who is giving me visa, so I better put my head down and do my work and be quiet and not be noticed. But it doesn't work that way. Even your company will actually thank you for telling them that this is what you are interested in. And if you do a great job at that, you're going to get more opportunities of doing the work that you enjoy. But the key is to say no and ask for what you want. So it actually ties to being assertive, really knowing what you truly want, and then making that ask. So it's those three things you will see repeating in what I say here. But once you have that, that clarity on what you want, go make an ask. I want this, and I'm gonna do a great job at that. So you should have that confidence to say that, give me this project and I'm gonna give you these results.
Yeah. No, I think those are excellent points. I always also feel like, joy also depends upon what other things you do in life. And those things include having adequate sleep. If you go to Netflix until 2 o'clock in the morning and show up at work tired, you're not going to have a joy at work. So you have to have some basics. You have to exercise every day. You have to eat healthy. You have to meditate 20 minutes if you can every day. You have to have certain relationship committed. You have to give and take in the relationship. You cannot just keep putting off somebody's invitation all the time. So you have to do your basics to have joy at work. Because I used to have one employee. Let me tell you briefly in a few seconds. I used to have an employee. She was actually from Russia. She learned English after coming here, but she made one of the most important statement. I can keep quoting all my life. She said that happy to work, happy from work. That means when you go to work, when you enter the room, when you enter the building of your work, you have to be happy to get there. That means at work, you have to do all your homework to get happy when you reach the work. Same way, happy at work. So when you are at work, you have to be 100% happy. So like you said, when you go home, you don't take that baggage of work to home. So happy from work, happy at work, or happy to work. And those two things are in my head all the time. I used to bring work at home. Now, even if I have to stay half an hour extra, I finish all my charting. So when I come home, I have nothing left in my head about the work. I still take a lot of calls and other things, but at the same time, I finish my work before I come here. So I think those things, I agree with you. The woman has to realize that joy at work involves doing certain things on a regular basis. And if a woman does that, not only she will advance in career, she will actually be more joyful and prevent many chronic disease, like you said, insomnia or not sleeping well, depression, anxiety, and many other things. So let me ask you the next question, which is a very important question. Many women, when they get a job, they feel like they are just an employee. But my philosophy always has been that even though if you're an employee, you have to think like you are the CEO of the company, you are the leader of the company. Because if every employee takes the lead in the company will flourish a lot faster and quicker, like Google does and many other some of this Fortune 500 company does. So what is your advice for every woman? How can every woman be a leader even though they are quote unquote just a simple employee?
You have to take charge of your career, right? When you think of a leader, the main thing that separates a leader from an employee is leaders have a vision. They know where they want to take the company. So as an employee, you still have to be a leader and have that vision where you want to take your life, where you want to take your career, and then take the decisions based on whether that particular action is going to help you reach closer to your vision, or is it going to distract you from there. And you see, in companies, leaders are constantly talking about the same things, right? The 4 or 5 buckets. We want profit, we want happy customers, we want to make sure we have high productivity, we want to make sure that our people are growing. Like those 4 or 5 things, those are the things that they constantly think about, right? Similarly, we have to have some buckets that we can measure our success with, right? So it could be salary. I think it's a great goal. I strongly feel that you must get paid fairly and what you're worth. So you definitely have to have a salary, right? You have to think about how much time I'm going to have, when I go to work. Will I have time for my family or not? Will I have time for myself or not? Right? What are the things I'm going to do when I make that kind of money, right? How do I spend that money? What kind of pleasurable things that I'm going to invest in? How I'm going to invest in my own personal growth, right? So you have to have some buckets that you can measure your success to, like a leader. If you do not have those buckets, you are just going to flow like a leaf, in the fall that has no direction and will fall wherever it falls on the street or on the ground. But if you can have that vision for yourself, you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong. So you have to command your career. You have to take charge of your career. You cannot take a back seat and say that, my boss will show me the way, right? The boss will never show you the way. You have to take charge of your own career and your own life.
Wow, yeah, I agree with you. I think that reminds me, which is an important topic, which I really want to cover. I think, as I understand, in most like a management job, even in physician's job, even in cardiology, for that sake, a woman typically gets paid. Even in manufacturing, even in any retail business management, women gets paid 70 cents for each dollar a man makes. So how
Yes.
can we, I mean, we are living in 2020. How can we allow that, number one? How can women make sure that she gets paid as equal to a man, obviously for the same work and same hours and same calls? I understand a woman doesn't want to take calls at night, maybe she gets paid less. But a woman who wants to work exactly same as a man, why should she paid 70 cents for each dollar?
Another great question. Well, the big picture thing is, if there is no law, people are going to pay whatever they want to pay, right? But we cannot wait for the law to be passed for equal pay and whatnot, right? I mean, there are people who are working towards it, but there's no law. So companies are not held accountable for paying equally to men and women, right? But if we keep waiting for the law to happen, we'll get older, we'll die one day, and we'll never achieve our goal, right? The problem is that 40 to 46% of women don't even negotiate their income. And speaking of physicians, I think the funny thing about physicians, or I think anybody who, who's working as an intern or, as a medical resident, you're earning what, 50 to $65,000 around that range, right? Maybe $70,000. But then they get appointed as a physician in a hospital, and then suddenly there's this big rise, right? Maybe 195, 225, whatever it is, and that itself is really exciting. Wow, that's a huge gap. I am getting paid so much, and they just like celebrate and whatnot. But the problem is they do not check, right? What's the market rate? Yeah, 195 is great, 200 is great, but if the market rate is 240, why am I being paid 195? So you have to do some research, find out what's the market rate is. There are websites, salary.com, glassdoor.com, indeed.com. You can go to these websites and figure out, what's a general range. But I also want to share here, just because the market rate is X does not mean that that's what you can ask for. If you have the education, if you have the expertise, if you have all the experience for that particular position, and you're really brilliant at it, make a higher ask. Make a higher ask. There's nothing to lose. They might say that no, we cannot do that, but be open to negotiation, right? So a lot of the women, they don't negotiate, and that's why they leave a lot of money on the table. So I mean, if you're leaving $50,000 on the table and you keep working for 5 years, that's a lot of money. To $50,000 you have just left at the table. So we have to take charge of our career. Like I keep saying, we have to know what the market rate is, what the recruiters are willing to pay, and make that ask. The key thing is that negotiation, not everybody likes negotiation, right? Because it's a difficult conversation and you feel uncomfortable and whatnot. And I love negotiation and I love teaching my clients how to negotiate. So if you feel that you're not good at it, get some help. Just like we go to school to get education, right? When we are on the job, we attend conferences, we read books, we attend a lot of other trainings to keep ourselves updated and upgraded at what we do. There is no shame in asking for help, because you know what, you are maybe great at being a doctor, maybe you're great at being an engineer, maybe a film producer, whatever, but this is not the skill that you were taught in school. So get help on that, because negotiation is so important. Once you negotiate the income that you truly deserve, your level of satisfaction is going to be much higher at work. And even though it's not just money that is responsible for satisfaction, but that is a big factor. So at least that factor is out of the way, and then you address the other things that are not dissatisfying for you at work.
No, that's an excellent point you made. I think for a woman to know that she's not getting paid as equal to the man, that itself creates an unnecessary subconscious bitterness. And I think only way you can overcome that bitterness is becoming assertive again, knowing your value, knowing what you're bringing to the table, like you said, for first 3 points, and then asking for that value. And to be honest with you, I think when a woman asks, most employers are actually happy and willing to give it. It's just that women don't ask. I think so. I ask all our viewers and followers and all the women to just ask that, why am I getting paid 70 cents for $1? I should be getting $1. And to be honest with you, once you ask that, you will get that dollar. So don't hesitate to ask. Just ask and see what happens. I think next important question comes that, like you said, many women are juggling a lot of responsibilities, a lot of duties. They are many times at home busy, at work busy, commuting sometimes. And all the women need break, either it's a good weekend or a good evening. So what are some of the ways a woman can pamper herself or can actually have some joy, some fun, some good time in her life after this busy day at work or busy day in their career? How can some of the ways they can pamper themselves?
So, one of the issues that, a lot of us have, women have, is that there is a huge guilt, right? Guilt in really pampering ourselves. They think, oh, I have this time, maybe I'll spend this time with my son or my daughter or my husband, because you know what, I've been so busy at work, so let me spend time with them. And that guilt sometimes lead you to take breaks, but they are not really rejuvenating uh, for you, right? So it's very important to make sure that you are important to yourself and really think about what gives you joy. Some people, it can be as simple as shutting yourself in the room, right? And just, luxuriating in that 1 hour that you got to yourself, whether you read or whether you take a nap. It can be as simple as that. You could go for a walk, you can get massages, you can, go take a vacation, go on a hike by yourself or with your family. You can do some things where you can combine your family as well as what you love. But it's very important to take that me time and really nourish yourself so that you feel recharged for the next day or the next hour or whatever you're getting ready for. But a lot of us, because of that guilt, um, we don't take the time for ourselves. We just feel like, I've been, I was working 14 hours yesterday and now I have these 2 hours. Let me just, hang out with my child. Yeah, do that, but give at least 10 minutes of that time to yourself to just do whatever you can. Dance to a tune. You can sing loudly. You can just go and shout, because it feels weird, right? I'm saying that go shout, but it really releases so much within you. It is very freeing. So it's a very simple thing I'm sharing with the viewers here, to just go and shout and see how liberating it feels to just like listen to your voice and have that freeness or freedom of expressing whatever is going on in your mind.
Wow, those are great tips. I think men need those too. I think everybody needs that. So that's great. Yeah. So let me ask you an important question. What are some of the signs you have encountered at a personal level, also in your clients and your friends and family? That what are the signs when a woman have those signs? That's a time to have a career change, because many times we cannot keep dragging, 30, 40, 50 years. And there are a lot of signs which keep coming to us, sometimes put us through anxiety, depression, chronic illness. But those signs should not be ignored. That means career change is due. So, what are some of those signs a woman can look for?
Well, first of all, look for physical symptoms, right? If you're not able to sleep at night, if you're constantly thinking work thoughts and it's stressing you out, you feel at, getting up in the morning and going to work just feels like a chore, and you would rather just stay in bed and not go to work. That's a huge red flag. It's like you need to do something about your job. Uh, the other thing also is, at work, how you feel at work. If you feel that you already know what you do at work, it's time for a change. And it's because a human brain is meant to grow and expand. We cannot be like deer who keep grazing and they're fine, right? Every day they do the same thing and they don't get bored, right? But human brain needs challenge. And when I say challenge, I'm very careful about it, right? When I mean challenge, it is not that, oh, now I'm gonna give up this easy thing and I'm gonna go for the hardest thing. It has to resonate with you. This is another thing that I would like to explore. I have worked on this project and I really loved facilitating meetings. How wonderful it would be if, in addition to just being a subject matter expert, I am the one who's leading the meetings. What do I need to do to learn to facilitate meetings? So if you start feeling that I've been doing the same thing over and over, it's time to make a change. The other thing I would also say is that when you do not feel respected at work, right? Your colleagues or your bosses are treating you a certain way. Before you say that it's a time to change, the important part is, having those difficult conversations, right, with the people at work, and saying that what's going on, I'm bringing so much value, and I feel that you don't seem to value this as much. What is going on? I would like to learn. So having that a conversation upfront is very important before you can say that, I'm going to run away from this job because my boss is not treating me very well, my colleagues are not treating me very well. Because many times it could be just our own thing, because we are not showing up with power, we are not owning up our we are not showing up assertively, we are not asking the right kind of questions that could be stopping us from really feeling belongingness in workplace, right? Many times we feel like we are the lone warrior and nobody's really supporting us and whatnot, and that feeling could actually uh, make you run away from the job or find another job. I actually tell my clients to really understand, why they want to leave the job, because a lot of the times some difficult conversations is going to change the whole dynamics there. But really, to answer your questions, any physical symptom, that is leading to that is on the path of making you ill, you have to be very, very vigilant for that, because you get life only once, and you do not want to waste your life in the same job where you feel dreadful, it feels like a prison. It's time to leave that prison and find something else.
No, those are excellent points. I think I agree with you. I think we spend, I mean, if we think of it, we spend half of our awake hours at work. I mean, how can we just not be happy at work? I mean, that's like almost like a must thing in my opinion. So I think if a time comes, don't be afraid to have a career change. And I think, fortunately, I think particularly for American women, there are a lot of options. Unemployment typically is very low. There are a lot of education programs available that you can take up a new degree. There are a lot of free education degrees available if you are not making certain income. So don't be afraid to have a career change. And that brings my next question, which is also a very important question. Many women in their late 40s, 50s start to feel like now they cannot make any career change or career progress, or they are done with their life. They are 50, 55 years old, time to retire. I think, in my opinion, that's wrong. With the women now living average 81 in America and possibly living even longer as we go next 10, 20, 30 years. So I think, in my opinion, those career change, if necessary, can even happen at 50s. So what are your views on that?
So the way I'm going to answer this question, I'm gonna address both, younger women as well as older women, because it's very relevant. I know younger women who try to look older so that they can be heard at work and taken seriously, and then there are older women who are worried about looking too old, and they try things to look younger. Both the approaches are wrong, and here is why. People don't care about your age, like seriously, they don't. The problem is that it's our own prejudice that we bring in the picture, that, oh, I am so old, nobody's going to hire me, or it's too late to make a career change. But I have said this in one of the trainings that I have done. Once we have that mindset, I'm too old to make a change, or I'm too old to ask for a promotion or whatnot, if we keep thinking about those things, those are the examples that we are going to see, right? So if we think about yellow color, right? We walk down the street, suddenly we are going to start noticing yellow house. Oh, that yellow house, I never noticed that was on my street, right? So you see, oh, that yellow sign and whatnot. So if we tell ourselves that, oh, I'm old, I cannot make a career change, you're going to see examples of women who are stuck in their career and not making a career change. But you know what? There are amazing women who are making strides because they made career change. They are negotiating higher salaries, they are asking for higher positions, they are actually switching careers, and it is all possible. The first thing is mindset, right? You don't have to make change externally, look younger. It's very important that we just accept life, right? We age gracefully, we accept whatever our graying hair and whatnot, right? We accept that to ourselves first. Once we accept that, then we figure out what are some strategies that I can use, right? And again, it brings back to the same thing, right? If you're clear on what you want, if you know how to, if you know your value, and if you have the skills to talk about your wisdom, right? The experience that you have gathered over the year in a way that your audience that your audience resonates with, they're gonna hire you, right? The one thing that I will add here is that, you know, millennials are, taking over the workplace. I shouldn't say taking over, right? I mean, a lot of companies, in most of the companies now, you see millennials, right? Many times we have that conflict between millennials, because millennials are, um, and I love that attitude. It's like, are you gonna give me what I want? Because if you give me, I'm gonna stay, right? If not, I'm gonna leave, right? So it's more like take it or leave it kind of attitude, right? And sometimes, because of the hard work, the way we've been brought up and how we think about our work, there is that clash, right? It's very different, and sometimes it's difficult to, get on the same page with that. But there are always strategies of how you can do that, how you can bring everyone on the same page and make things happen. But age shouldn't be a factor, that should stop you from making a career change.
Yeah, I agree. Those are excellent points. I think, I'm 58 years old and I made a career, I haven't made a full career change, but I'm more into lifestyle medicine. I still practice as a cardiologist, but my goal, my dream one day is to be a lifestyle physician. I mean, that's a complete change. I've been board certified into lifestyle medicine. You have made your career change. I mean, you're very successful. You're very, I mean, you know your stuff. I mean, I'm already very impressed so far. So I think we all can make change at any age. I mean, age should not be a barrier when we want to make a change. My next important question comes for many women that they are not actually good at delegating some of their responsibilities and some of their work to other people, other systems, whether it's a personal delegation or delegating to a computer or to a phone, whatever way they can delegate. So please tell us how a woman can delegate at work and delegate at home.
Yeah. Again, I love your questions. These are all great, important questions. The one thing I want women to know when they are delegating is that that other person is an, is a person, and that you have to respect that person for who they are and allow them to grow. So what I mean by that is, many times we have preconceived ideas about how something should be done, and we are very particular about it. We are almost perfectionists, right? Oh, especially if it's home life, right? I want my kitchen a certain way. If I ask my husband to do it or my partner to do it, they are not going to do it the way I do it. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to do it because, you're not so good at it. But that is very disrespectful of that other person, right? You're not allowing that person to be creative about reaching that same goal that you have for yourself. And it applies to work as well, right? When you're delegating, don't be a micromanager, please. Because if you have hired someone, if someone is working with you, if the company has hired somebody, they have hired, based on some algorithms, right? They know that this person is going to bring this value to our company. So the first and foremost thing to remember is to respect that person. The second thing is share your vision with them, right? Where do you want to go? Don't tell them this is how I want you to get here. Let them go, use their brain power, use their creativity, and tell you, these are three different ways that we can get here. How would you like to proceed? But a lot of the times we just like smother them with, I don't like this, I don't like that, you're not as good. And so the thing is, nobody wants to work with you in that case. Nobody wants to help you because you become so critical of delegating. So if you can just let go of the how to get there, and you just share with them, this is where I want to go, delegation will be so much more easier.
No, I think I love the way you describe how to delegate, how to actually be a successful delegate person. And I also believe in, I call it a concept of sidekick. I personally believe that having a sidekick is very important if you want to progress in your life, and if you want to be a leader, and if you want to really be an influencer person. And I always give a people example that even Lord Ram had Hanuman, here Lakshman. I mean, here is sidekicks. Everybody remembers Lord Ram, but a lot of work was done by Lakshman and Hanuman. Same way,
True.
if you want to be influencer, have those sidekicks. Have be able to person you can delegate. Lord Krishna had Arjun. I mean, a lot of every person who was influencing person in the world for millennials always had a sidekick. They were always good at delegating work to other people. So if you want to be successful, learn how to delegate and always have a sidekick. Sidekick concept, in my opinion, is so much important. My next important question is importance of lifelong learning. I personally believe that every woman, doesn't matter at what age they are, whether they're 30, 40, 60, 90, 100, whatever age they are, that there should be a non-stop every day some kind of learning, whether it's reading a book, whether getting a new degree, whether learning a new recipe, whether whatever, learning about a car, whatever. But there should be some kind of lifelong learning happening with every woman, for that sake, every person. What are your views on that?
I agree. Like I said earlier, our brain, is meant to grow. It loves challenges because that's when we feel fulfilled. So it's very important to, have that learning attitude. So like you said, whether it's a recipe, whether it's even coloring, right? Or reading poetry, whatever it is, giving that stimulation to your brain is very helpful. The one thing that I warn women about is, many times they go after degrees to get promoted or get a better job. Most of the times, if you have the experience and expertise, most of the times you don't need that degree. Again, all you need to is, polish how you present your skills, how you present your value, and go for it. But yes, if this is something that you love, like you want to get a degree in photography, right? Just because you're interested in it, go for it. If you're interested in gardening, plant a plant. Like even if you plant a single plant, that feels so great because you can see that seed growing, and it just feels really good to your heart. It feels good to your mind. So yeah, I'm all about learning. Learn
Wow,
whatever
yeah, I
gives
agree.
you joy.
Yes, yes. So I was just going through your Facebook page, and I came with this interesting way of describing, and you called it a good girl syndrome. And as I understand, like a lot of people, immersive women, that we all have this quote unquote ever pleasing personality. And I think many times we actually suffer because of that. So please tell us, what is this good girl syndrome, and how can a person avoid or prevent that?
So, good girl syndrome is where, the woman says yes to everything, even if they want to say no. And that again is because of the programming that has happened, since childhood, taking care of others, not disrespecting others. Most women are taught saying no to someone is disrespectful. So as a result, they say yes. But when they say yes to a thing that they want to say no to, that builds resentment inside. Right? Your boss gives you a project and then you really don't like it, you hate it, but you take it on because in your mind you're saying, if I say no, my boss will think I'm not a good team player, or if I had given this to Bill, he would have said yes and whatnot, right? We have all these things, these thoughts, these voices going on in our head, that we say yes, but that saying yes does not help you in the long run. So you cannot prevent the good girl syndrome unless you have had good childhood experiences, you were brought up to be assertive and express what you truly feel, say no and whatnot. It's too late if that has not happened. But what you can do to get over the good girl syndrome is to learn to draw boundaries. It's very important to have those boundaries around you, where you know that if you do not want to say yes to something, you can say no. And if the other person reacts, that's on them, it's not on you. So you do not have to own up their aggression or their reaction. And you can again draw a boundary and say that, I can see that you do not like this, like my saying no, but this is where I stand. And we can have a conversation when you are in a better state of mind, right? So you don't have to indulge in the conversations that lead to saying no, but it's very important to draw this boundary. Again, knowing what you want and then saying yes to only those things that you want and saying no to what you are not interested in.
Wow, great. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it so much. I don't want to even stop it, but I want to know a little bit more about you. So you were part of this great book, one of the bestseller. So please tell us about that book. I know there were 20 women, and you were one of them. So please tell us who wrote the book and what was your role, and tell us about your experience going through that. Helping to have your own story in that book.
Yeah, so this is actually very interesting. So I am a firm believer in getting help, and as a business owner, I work with coaches all the time so that I can expand my business and become better. And it was the idea of one of my coaches, who shared this idea with us, and she reached out to us and asked us if we would be interested. One thing that I have realized is that women carry so much shame about their own life, right? They're afraid to share about what happened in their childhood, whether it is abuse, whether something else that has happened to them. The experiences actually tell experiences make them close up even more. And if you are closed up, it is really hard for you to be yourself. If you have a lot of shame within you, you cannot really open up and own up and be yourself. So when my coach presented this idea, I felt that I need to share my story, and I need to talk about how my childhood impacted me. And I am gay, and it's a big taboo in a country like India. I mean, now they have overruled the law and whatnot. But even now, even parents feel ashamed if their children tell them that they are gay. And I felt that I needed to share this story with everybody, so that they get inspired. Hopefully they will get inspired that there is this one person who was able to come out and had been through these challenges and is now living her life. I'm married to my happily married to my wife, and we have a toddler. We adopted when he was a newborn, and we are living our life. And in addition, how I went through my career journey to really figure out what I truly want. I really did not want to be a doctor, but it was an expectation that I will become a doctor. And I became a doctor, but I didn't really enjoy a lot of it. I mean, I enjoyed the coaching part, telling patients, what to do, how to take care of their health and whatnot. And that was the theme that I really enjoyed in all my jobs. So as I was going through the different aspects of my career, that common thread stayed. And that's what helped me decide that I wanted to become a career coach. So I took a long-winded journey to get to where I am, but I'm really happy that I'm in a position where if people are stuck in their career, they do not know where to go, if they are not able to negotiate their salaries, if they feel like they're working in a toxic environment, they do not know how to stand up for themselves. I am really glad that I'm able to help them without having to go through, the career journey of 20 years that I went through. I just cut short the time, and they start living their dream career right away. So the idea of the book really was to the idea was to inspire, whoever reads that books and feels inspired and wants to make a change in their life. If even one person, makes the decision that they want to live their life differently, I will feel that, I have succeeded.
No, you have been helping thousands and thousands, and one day will be millions of women. So I'm very proud of you. And I think thanks for sharing your personal life also. And I think I have very high respect for people who are open, people who actually lead, and people who actually set an example so other people can actually also come out and actually also live their normal life. So I think I'm very proud of you sharing with us. My next question to you is that many women actually would want to reach out to you and would want to learn from you, would want to take your program, would obviously hire you as a coach. So what is the website and what is the program they can look up, online or on Facebook, so that way they can all start following you?
Sure. So my website is www.unshackledcareerwoman.com. And as the name suggests, I help women become unshackled and really live the life that they truly want to live. And actually, the timing of this interview is so great because I am launching a new program on Monday, actually, and it's called Command Your Career. And the program is really about helping women. Actually, it's open for men too if they're interested, but it's basically becoming your authentic self, being confident, and really going after what you want, so you can confidently have very open conversations with your boss about what you want. And I'll teach you strategies on how to have those conversations and and get what you want, because I feel that a lot of us stay stuck in our job because we are afraid to have those conversations. We don't feel as confident, we don't feel that we deserve that kind of position or that kind of salary. So this program is designed for that. And if people are interested in joining the program, they can go to www.unshackledcareerwoman.com/command. And because I am on this podcast, I am giving massive discount. The original price of the program is $997, and because I'm here on this podcast, I'm slashing it to $297. So it's a huge, huge, huge discount. So I encourage you to avail that. It's going to be a great program, all live trainings, live Q&A, and customized responses to the questions that you have.
Wow, that's a great, great deal for such an excellent program. And I think listening to you today for this 1 hour, I already got so many tips, even though we talked about women, but so many things applies to many men too. And definitely all the women viewers and followers got so many tips today and so much empowerment, so much encouragement, so much motivation, almost like they got a second win after listening this 1 hour. So definitely when they join the program with you, which will be a live training, it's like once in a 5-year chance they can get. They should just grab it and they should just run with it. I mean, 299. I mean, it's like it's like buying a dress. I think from that they can change their whole life. So I think I ask all the women, followers, viewers, and even men if they want to join that program. And I wish you the best. Just hang in there. I'm going to go offline and we'll talk a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you again. Thank you.